All right, Miami fans, it's another Wednesday night here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, bringing you Miami football talk at 8 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday night. We've been doing this since pretty much the first of the year, right after the college football season ended in 2018, to huge success because of you. Thanks so much for your participation in the live chat. Of course, keep in mind that the super chat is available for you to. We give you the opportunity to contribute to the channel right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, where we believe we deliver the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. All right, Cam Underwood, typically our guy here each and every Wednesday night. Cam's been on vacation, missed last week, and we filled in capably with Kevin Fielder and John Michaels from State of the U. Also, Alonzo 1219. Those gentlemen are standing by as well. And we, of course, will be awaiting your comments and questions on the live chat. I want to remind you that you can help us build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below. So in any of the videos, if you go to the description section below the video, you will see a link that says Amazon. Do your Amazon shopping using that link. It doesn't cost you an extra penny. It isn't a situation where you've got to buy the product that you see. Just use that link, do your regular Amazon shopping, and you help us build up the channel. Keep in mind that just over the last few days, I've had a number of people ask me, Mark, why don't you do a Michigan live every week? Why don't you do an LSU live every week? Why don't you do Clemson live every week? Why don't you, what was the most recent one, do Florida live every week? I would love to do all those things. I would do a Kansas State live every week. I would do Cal live every week. Pick your team. I would do all of them. Comes down to one thing: resources. So as soon as we can pull in the resources to do all these live streams, and meaning that I have the time to do the resource, because of the resources, I've got the time and put two and two together, then we will supply all the college football talk you could ever want. Also, another reason why I don't have time to do all the call-in shows that you would like me to do. I love more than anything else to do call-in shows, to get on here and talk college football with you, to answer the comments and the questions in the chat, and to take your calls, and would love to do that more often. Let's also keep in mind that the super chat's on. You can contribute to the channel using the super chat. Also, the audio is available at Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. Just search Mark Rogers TV. And we also give you the opportunity to join our Voice of College Football community. Just grab the link in the description section below, Voice of College Football community, and you get 2 exclusive live streams with me each and every week. One in which I respond to your viewer comments, and we've received over 40,000, and it's been 3 weeks since I looked at that statistic, so it's way over 40,000 at this point. So thank you. That all comes from you, of course, so thank you for your comments. I respond and react to your comments on our Voice of College Football community once every week. And then also the other exclusive live stream that you get each and every week is you get to talk college football with me. I bring you on to talk college football directly with me. We got Kevin Fielder on the line from State of the U. Kevin, how you doing today?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing just fine. We appreciate you jumping on board last week. Had quite the spirited discussion from what I remember in regards to
I think it was Mark Richt and then the offense as a whole, because
what went wrong last year, how much of it was Rick's fault, how much of it was his son's fault, N'Kosi Perry's fault, Malik Rogers' fault, and how much better is it going to be this year? It was quite the spirited debate, and we appreciate you jumping on board here. I will let everyone know that's used to seeing Cam Underwood here. Of course, Cam and Kevin work together there at State of the U. And Cam emailed me this afternoon and said, how are you looking for tonight? And I said, we've got it covered. We had Kevin Fielder on last week, John Michaels. We had Zoe on last week. And all 3 of them agreed to come on again tonight. And I said, you are obviously welcome to come on as well. And he said, no, I think you guys got it covered. We're good. I'll see you next week. So, Kevin, how you doing tonight?
Good, good. It's still a little hot out here. I mean, I guess I should have expected that. It is still South Florida, so um,
Now, are
yeah,
you from South Florida?
yeah. Down from the West Palm area, the Palm Beach County, West Palm area. I guess where Donald Trump lives is the best way to explain where I'm from. So
All right. You and the Donald, are neighbors.
yeah,
Very nice. Very nice. Living in the high rent district, I hear.
yeah, pretty high, pretty steep.
Very nice. Very nice. So, Kevin, I'm just going to dive in with whatever's on your mind in regards to Miami football. I did not come too prepared, and I'm used to that with Cam. He just takes on all kinds of comments and questions. And certainly, we will let everyone know in the live chat that if you have any particular comments or questions for Kevin or myself, certainly leave them in the live chat, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We've got 59 watching right now, and that will go up and up and up and up. So let people know that we are here. So, Kevin, let's see. We are just about, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks away from ACC Media Days. And then, of course, the next week, the Canes will be back on the practice field.
Yeah, media day, and then of course fall practice starts, and then we kind of get into the whole thick of things. Of course, Miami plays earlier than most other teams, given that they start officially in week 0. So last week we obviously had Paradise Camp, and it was of course a huge success, as it is every week. Miami had, I believe, 3 commitments on the day, including God, I'm already passing my mind. Defensive lineman. Here, let me bring that up. So, and then you had Daslin Worsham, the Alabama wide receiver, who has not officially flipped his commitment, but has decommitted from Alabama, and it seems more and more likely that Miami is the next step for him. He obviously has the link with Dan Enos, when Dan Enos was the quarterback coach at Alabama and the suspected offensive coordinator before he went to Miami. Would be a huge get for Miami. They need a guy like that who they can really rely on in this wide receiving class. They don't really have many. They have a few guys on the roster right now, but as these guys get older, you want to have more guys come in. Probably going to end up taking him in this cycle. They did lose on Keyshawn Lawrence, the Corn Elder's cousin. He's recently committed to Tennessee. They did have him for an official visit as well. Other than that, it was obviously Darnell Washington who stole the show, the 6'7", 5-star tight end. Looked like a monster out there in camp, as you would expect. Don Chaney looked terrific from what I've heard. And a few of the 2020 guys looked good as well. Hopefully Miami can get a few more commitments before or after the dead period ends. And then as you kind of get into the season and really start it off, then hopefully you get these guys to truly commit and you can start building that class a little more. Currently, though, the class is looking good. We'll see how it ends, though.
Got Kevin Fielder on the line from State of the U talking Miami football. We're here each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so lock it on in as we get you set for Miami football 2019. Of course, as Kevin mentioned, ACC Media Days are coming up very soon. And then, of course, fall practice moved up 1 week because of the week 0 date against those hated Florida Gators in Orlando. Can't wait for that one. It's pretty much got the college football spotlight to itself, with just Arizona and Hawaii playing out 5 time zones away out on the island. Got some comments in the live chat, Kevin, concerning the quarterback situation. N'Kosi Perry obviously is the guy with the experience. Jaron Williams brings a slightly different skill set, and then Tate Martell would be the aberration of a skill set in comparison to the other two. So is there a particular player, based on what you know, there's little to go on, again, aside from Perry and his roughly half season played last year, there's little to go on that's on record. Martell's appearances were in mop-up duty and blowout games. But based on what you've seen, both in person and on tape, what you've heard, the scouting reports, the strengths and weaknesses, who would be your favorite? And what do you think the coaches, Manny Diaz in particular, Danny Eno secondarily, are favoring in this quarterback battle?
I mean, obviously the experience does go a long way for N'Kosi Perry. Between the other two quarterbacks, I believe they have maybe 2 drives between them, and it's definitely concerning to look at when you look at experience, because in my opinion, experience is a lot when it comes to a starting quarterback. You want a guy who at least knows how to play at the college level. Perry did look good last year. I think his stats, while lackluster at best, a lot of that was because his wide receivers weren't giving him any help at all throughout the season. So I think when you look into it next year, and N'Kosi Perry's looked good in fall camp, and so had spring camp, excuse me, and so has Jaron Williams. Tate Martell's looked a little bit behind, but you do expect that given that he was a recent transfer. He hasn't fully gotten used to any of the playbook. He did look good in the spring game, and his best chance of winning it is if he looks good going into summer, and then of course going into the fall camp. I don't think Miami's in any rush to announce that starting quarterback yet. They kind of can take it day by day. They can take it play by play. They have no rush to announce that quarterback to the world, given that all 3 of the guys are talented. They all have talent. Tate Martell was I believe, 5-star quarterback, or high 4-star coming out of high school. He had committed to Ohio State, and he had looked in line to take the job going into next season before Justin Fields decided to transfer to Ohio State and had gotten his waiver approved. If it was me, I would say Jared Williams starts week 1. But it wouldn't surprise me if any of the 3 would start once week 1.
All right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football with Miami Talk. We got Kevin Fielder on the line from State of the U. I am browsing through your comments and questions on the live chat. And certainly understand, and I remind the folks, Kevin, out there each and every week that we serve up comments and questions to Cam, and he is just in a different category in regards to his recruiting prowess. And scanning the nation about all sorts of prospects, because that's his deal. That's where he started. That's his wheelhouse. So I may throw some guys out here. You certainly are not aware of them or not familiar with what they bring to the table. Certainly, we'll move on. But we've got some folks out there that are interested in Darnell Washington, 5-star, 247 Sports. Whether he is a likely commit to Miami.
If I'm being completely honest, no. I don't see how he commits to Miami over teams like Alabama and Auburn, who seem to be pushing him a lot harder, or Georgia, excuse me, who seem to be pushing him a lot harder than Miami. It was good to see him get into Paradise Camp, so at least you had gotten him on campus and have been able to put him on campus, but he was insane during Paradise Camp. He's 6'7". He's built like a basketball player. He's got all the tools you want out of a player. He's going to probably be a first-round draft pick after his college career is done. I mean, I hate to predict it, but very few players have the talent he does. He'll make an impact at any Power 5 team, but I don't see how Miami is going to really be able to bring him on as a 2020 commitment.
So I know we discussed this last week in regards to expectations for this team. And of course, 7-5 last year during the regular season was an underachievement in that division. I certainly saw both sides of the argument in regards to whether we can expect some miraculous run to 12-0, or if we can just see nominal improvement because there's just too much talent on this team. You would think against this schedule and against that division to lose 5 games a year. Again, it seems as though you're thinking 9-3 would be a decent showing.
Yeah, the expectation for Miami this year, and we have to temper it because Manny Diaz is still a first-year head coach. While he's had a terrific start to it, and he's at least won the offseason in the sense of transfers and in the sense of buying back or getting people to buy back into the Miami hype, first-year head coaches are bound to have some struggles in their first year, and Manny Diaz will have his. I think the expectation has to be at least to get to Charlotte for the conference championship, and then seeing where it takes you. Whether that's 9-3 or a 10-2 or a 11-1 record is still up to debate, because you do still have some tougher games on the schedule. Florida week 1 is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. UNC can surprise you. They've beaten Miami before, and they've proven that they can at least compete with Miami. Now this year, UNC is a little different. Virginia is obviously going to be probably your biggest competition when it comes to winning the Coastal. Last year they won the Belk Bowl. They dominated the Belk Bowl. They had really turned that corner, it looks like. And this year they bring back their quarterback. They bring back a lot of their important pieces. You expect them to at least compete with Miami. And obviously last year it was a game in Virginia, so it was a little harder to play. And Miami had kind of shot themselves in the foot with not having a clear and cut quarterback at that point in the season. But I think a realistic expectation is a 10-2, 9-3 record. You go into the conference championship, you see if maybe you can shock Clemson, which, let's be honest, right now is probably a 1% chance of happening. Past that, though, you hope that you win your bowl game, and then really that year 2 of the Manny Diaz era is where you start to really heighten your expectations, much like it was with Mark Richt. He had his first season, he had struggled a bit. It didn't look natural. He had won his bowl game in Orlando. So then that next season, his expectations were higher. And of course, they had made the Orange Bowl. They had made the conference championship. They had beat FSU. They had really surpassed a lot of the expectations that were put on them. But even then, it wasn't the best season. So a lot of it has to be not based on the actual win-loss record, but on the actual play and how it looks. Because you can be 7-5, but look good just as easily as you can be 12-0 and look like a terrible team. So the expectations do have to be tempered a little bit, in my honest opinion.
And I was making the same point in our last live stream, talking Florida State football the last hour, because I had Willie Taggart a little bit lower rated than a few of my guests in my ACC coaches rankings. And I made the point that going 5-7 with a roster that's comprised of top 10 to 15 recruiting classes is bad enough. But I will give some leeway to a first-year head coach and getting his system entrenched into the players, the culture, the environment, the transition of getting used to coaching those players, the players to the position coaches and the head coach, and all of the transition that needs to be made. But to go 5-7 is one thing, and I still think that that's just not not something that should be acceptable, considering an ACC that's not extremely strong, although Florida State did have a difficult schedule with Notre Dame and Florida in the non-conference. But to go 5-7 and to do it in the manner in which Willie Taggart did it, where they were not competitive, they played what I count 3 decent games, and one of those was a loss against Miami, where they played a really good game for 3 quarters, and then they let them off the hook and gave the game away. But otherwise, they played a good game against Wake Forest. They beat them by 3 touchdowns, a good, decent Wake Forest team that won a bowl game. And they beat Boston College by 1 point at home. They should do that. Otherwise, they were abysmal. So had they lost some of those games, like the Virginia Tech game that they lost by 3 touchdowns, had they scored some points and only lost by a field goal, had they not been bludgeoned by Syracuse 30-7 and lost by 1 score, okay. But the way in which they arrived at 5-7, they had to have one of the worst teams in college football, Louisville, hand them the game. I just think was a deplorable effort by Willie Taggart and Florida State last season. And just the point in him going 5-7 was worse than some other teams that went 5-7, considering the talent and considering the manner in which they just seemed ill-prepared week after week after week after week. Do you have any thoughts, Kevin, about the rest of the division? And since we're on the topic of Florida State, your hated rival.
I mean, yeah, I think Florida State takes us another step this year. I mean, they're going to be a better team. 5-7 is terrible, and with the talent that they have and the talent that they brought back, I see no way that they finish next season at 5-7. Now, will they get over the 9-win hump? Probably not. It takes still time to recover from a 5-7 season, regardless of what way you put it. I think Kendall Briles is a great hire for them. What he did at FAU in his short time there was impressive. I mean, he had made them into a legitimate college football program, and by the looks of it, and while a lot of the credit will go to Lane Kiffin, and deservingly so, Broyles had done a lot to help that offense progress to the next level. The rest of the division, again, I mentioned Virginia, and I think they are the team to at least compete with Miami in the Coastal. Clemson is obviously going to be the number one team. There's no doubt about it. There seems to be a lot of weird, I don't know if it's underrating on Syracuse, but I believe the over-under right now is at 5.5 wins, which if you're looking to make easy money at this point, take it, because I see no way that they finish next season not bowl eligible. What they've done in the few years leading up to this year is impressive. And then while they lose Eric Dungy, DeVito had some time under center, and if he looks to be the clear starter, then they'll be fine. I would say I think Syracuse finishes as the second best team in the ACC, Miami third, and then of course Clemson one.
Syracuse, of course, after 2 seasons of 4-8 under Dino Babers, in which they had, of course, the upset win over Clemson, but still only won 4 games the previous season in 2017. Showed out at 9-3, and as Kevin mentioned, was the second seed in the ACC, and then won the bowl game over West Virginia, although a depleted West Virginia club that had none of its top offensive players playing in that game, but still they won the game by 2 scores. So, yes, Syracuse. So what I'm looking at here is we know they play in the tougher of the 2 divisions. I always look at who do you have to play in the other division, which is key, of course, and then the non-conference schedule. So the non-conference schedule is nothing too daunting. Liberty, Maryland, Western Michigan, and Holy Cross. So my goodness, Syracuse could pick up 4 wins right there. They probably should be 4-0, and maybe there'll be a pick'em game probably, or a slight underdog at Maryland just because it's on the road. But that's pretty much of a toss-up. And if anything, Syracuse was the better team last year. So even if they go 3-1, then they've got to go 3-5 in the ACC to get the win versus Vegas.
And the games that they play out of conference aren't in any way difficult. They have Duke, who they should be beating. They have, who else do they have?
The other games against
Pittsburgh, who I think they beat, especially if it's at home. Then you're asking them if they finish 3-1, and let's say they finish 3-1 non-conference, they lose a game to Maryland, which is possible. Then you're asking them to win 1 game against NC State, Clemson, Florida State, Boston College, Louisville, and Wake Forest. I think they can win at least 2 of those, maybe even 3 of those. So I think right now they're probably the second best team in the ACC, just based on, if we're going based off the past few years and then going into this season, the experience at head coach, the experience at quarterback is going to help them going into next season.
Kevin, you do have me contemplating running. Well, I guess I'm already online. I don't need to run anywhere, but after we're done here, to lay down a few bucks on Syracuse at 5.5. I certainly don't think they're the second best team in the conference. I don't think that they were last year. I know they had the second best record. It was debatable. They beat NC State, which would have been direct competition for that spot. So possibly they were, it could be easily argued the second best team last year. I would just have to see Syracuse back up their performance from last year, which I think came against a very weak schedule. But they're a decent team. They're a decent team. Dino Babers doing a nice job. Again, I got to see it backed up once here, and 9-3 might have been an outlier, but we shall see this season. But 5.5 versus the Vegas line, Syracuse would appear to be a pretty favorable play against a weak non-conference schedule in particular. All right, we got Kevin Fielder on the line. You can join him and the rest of the staff there at State of the U, of course, headed up by Cam Underwood from State of the U. Cam joins us on a weekly basis to talk Miami football here at 8 o'clock Eastern time each and every Wednesday night. I will take your comments and questions. Kevin will as well, of course, concerning Miami football in the live chat. So let's see what we've got, as I actually lost track of it here. Any particular player, before I get to any of the comments and questions here, Kevin, that is most intriguing to you? So not necessarily the best player that you can think of, but one in which you are just waiting to see, will this guy step out? Will he break out as an impact player this year?
I think one of the more important ones definitely is going to be Al Blades Jr. Miami loses Michael Jackson to the NFL, and then after that you have guys like Nigel Bethel, DJ Ivy. You have a lot of inexperience behind Trajan Bandy, and right now it looks like Al Blades is the man to play alongside Trajan Bandy on the outside, and I'm really excited to see if he can take that next step and become a true number two, because what Rumph has done with that defensive back room at all and completely is impressive. And the fact that you've had now in just a few years, you've had guys like Sheldrick Redwine, Jaquan Johnson, Michael Jackson Jr., who a lot of guys were in a way overlooked by the NFL, not only be drafted, but in the case of guys like Jaquan Johnson, be drafted a lot higher than they probably would have been under Mark Richt. Another guy that I really like is KJ Osborne. Obviously, he will likely be the starting wide receiver alongside Jeff Thomas. And then I would say probably another guy I'm really interested to see if he can finally take that next step. And it seems like he's kind of been stumped in his development based a lot on his injuries, is Zach McLeod. While you have the two linebackers in Pickney and Quarterman who are going to dominate this year, there is no doubt in my mind that they are going to be two of the best linebackers in college football. Past that, you need that third guy, and I think it can very much be Zach McLeod who steps up. He does have a lot of speed. You'd like to see I'd like to see him use that speed, though, to take better angles on the football, because you see sometimes that he gets kind of burned on his angles and then really just loses steps and loses the perfect tackling advantages and gives the other team more yards. I think if he could stay healthy this year, which is a seemingly going to hopefully be a case, he can be a guy who reaches into his draft stock a little bit. Maybe doesn't get drafted, but can make the roster out of training camp or can make a practice squad, and will definitely become an undrafted free agent.
Good stuff from Kevin Fielder. You can catch him on Twitter, also on State of the U. So it's the Kevin Fielder. You can catch him right there. Follow him on Twitter, and also with him. We got John Michaels, of course, and of course, Cam Underwood at State of the U, along with Justin DeTavio, who joins us on a regular basis to break down the X's and O's there at the platform that's got the Miami Hurricanes just completely covered from start to finish to get you set for 2019. We do exactly the same thing right here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, with guys like Kevin, of course, Cam Underwood from State of the U. Zoe joins us on a regular basis as well. Here in the live chat, you got the Wholesome One, Dwayne Holloway, who's got a fine YouTube channel, the Wholesome One, HOLSUM, the number one, covering Miami football. So we are inundated with the Canes, and if you love Miami football, that's why you're here as well. All right. We talked about the offensive line last week in regards to the blame that they should or should not have taken, not just from last season, but recent offensive woes under Mark Richt. The quarterback situation with Malik Rozier has to get better, as has been stated by Cam a number of weeks. Just statistically speaking, it was one of the bottom 5 to 10 worst quarterbacking efficiency rankings in just about every meaningful statistical category in college football last season. So if there's just marginal quarterback play, not great dynamic, doesn't have to be Kyler Murray, doesn't have to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, 60% thrower, twice as many touchdowns as interceptions. A threat to stretch the defense, a threat in the running game, as certainly Malik Rozier was, and they don't have to get dynamic Michael Vick kind of play out of the running position or the running responsibilities of the quarterback. But Kevin, I think that elevates it right there. There's your difference between 7 wins and 9 capable quarterback play. Not great quarterback play, top 40 quarterback play.
Yeah, no one is expecting the Miami Hurricanes to jump into next season, have a Kyler Murray season, or even probably have a top 10 quarterback season. But if you can go into next season with a top 40 or a top 30 quarterback, it changes a lot. Dan Enos is going to bring an offense that is more modernized, and we talked about it last week. You can't be going to next season with the same motion, the same inside zones, the same plays that you shouldn't expect to run, and work at a consistent basis. And a lot of it will go on the quarterback because Rozier wasn't good. He had struggled to make throws to guys like Brevin Jordan, who has a lot of speed, who can dominate the middle of the field. Jeff Thomas, who had burned defenses all year. And if you can get a guy like Perry to take that next step and at least complete 60-65% of his throws, you're talking about a team that drives down the field a lot easier. And it makes running the ball easier. It makes your defense not have to work as hard. And while the hope is that you can at least throw some bubble screens, you can get the ball quickly, because you're not going to get the offensive line to a point where you're going to have the ideal 3 to 4 seconds to throw the football. But if you can just get the ball out and you can use the playmakers that you have, you can use the speed you have, you can use guys like Thomas, Brevin Jordan, Will Mallory, DJ Dallas out the backfield, then you're talking about a team that can drop 30 points a game, can score 35 points a game consistently. And in the ACC, that should get you to 10 wins. You would expect it to, with the, I don't even want to say lack of talent, but just not as much talent as other Power 5 conferences do have.
Kevin Fielder on the line from State of the U. And before we continue, Kevin, would love for you to give some background in regards to your situation there at the University of Miami, how long you've been going to school there, your work at State of the U, some of your aspirations, and again, highlight some of your work there at SB Nation.
Yeah, so I'm actually a student at FAU, but I have been writing about the Hurricanes since last season, and obviously the hope is that I can take that next step in my journalism career, but I focus right now more on the football side of things and the recruiting side of things. I have a Paradise Camp preview up that you can still read. A lot of it is still probably pertinent information since a lot of the guys haven't committed yet. Past that, this next season, I'll be at FAU games. I'll be at Palm Beach County High School games, and then maybe at a few Miami Hurricanes games.
All right. Really good stuff with Kevin Fielder. Again, please join him and the rest of the staff there at State of the U. This is Cam Underwood's slot typically, but we talk Miami football regardless each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We did Florida State at 7 o'clock. So Miami fans, for those of you that are unaware that we talk Florida State football at 7 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday night, certainly check us out right there. You know what the deal is in the live chat. You just talk college football. We've got fans from across the board, not just Miami fans checking us out here. So again, 7 o'clock, it all starts on Wednesday night each and every week at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Then after Miami at 8, we've got Ohio State talk at 9 o'clock Eastern time. At 10 o'clock tonight, you will not see this live, but I will be on the line with Ryan Cantor from Shaking the Southland. That's the SB Nation platform for Clemson, and also Mike McDaniel from Gobbler Country, as somebody's calling. So yes, this is not a call-in show right now. We're going to wrap it up fairly soon, but maybe I'll take a call. We'll see. Maybe I'll break the rules. But the call broke my mojo there. Okay. We are talking Clemson football at 10 o'clock. Yes. And we've got our rankings of top 5 ACC quarterbacks and running backs, and you'll see those videos post here in the next few days. You also have position previews out of me and some of our guests on Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Miami, Clemson. Oh my goodness, on and on and on. Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas, TCU, Notre Dame's coming up on Friday, Georgia, USC, and others that I can't remember. Washington included, Arizona State we did this week as well. So be looking out for those position previews. My schedule rankings continue. I'm in the top 25 right now. And if I've got enough off season left between now and the start of the season, I will get you as many season previews as I can possibly get to. So keep in mind, while all this is going on and all the content I deliver each and every day, in addition to that, a lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes to make this sustainable. So in addition to all the content, I just don't get on here and talk college football constantly. There's a lot going on behind the scenes in regards to marketing, sales, those sorts of things, trying to get those things drummed up so we are still here and not going away anytime soon. So please support the channel. The super chat is on. And if you don't know what that is your opportunity to contribute to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. There are other ways to do it, of course, like the videos, comment, subscribe, share the videos out there on social media. And also, I will let you know that in the description section of any of the videos, shop on Amazon using that link. It helps build the channel. And also, if you grab the link that says Voice of College Football Community, you join us over there and you get 2 exclusive live streams. So it appears to me, based on the feedback that I receive from you guys, is one of the reasons you stay locked in here is to talk college football with me on a regular basis. That's why we've been getting phone calls all night since 7 o'clock that I haven't answered, because these aren't call-in shows. But to the number 860-325-3687. So put that on your fridge and keep it right there for other dates. But we will be able to do more of those, and you can check out more of those if you join me on the Voice of College Football Community. The link is down in the description section. And what you can do right there is join me for an exclusive live stream each and every week in which I bring you on, and just like I've got Kevin on tonight, bring you on, hopefully 3 or 4 of you at the same time. And we've got a round robin round table. Every time somebody calls, I get distracted. Round robin conversation on college football. And also the other exclusive live stream that I deliver each and every week is responding to your viewer comments. So thank you for those. And you can catch that all on that link, the Voice of College Football Community, down in the description section below. Kevin, do you feel this Florida game's a toss-up, or would you give the Gators a bit of an advantage right now?
I think it's a toss-up. I don't see either team really taking the game by its horns and winning it to the extent that Florida had a great season last year. Miami had that same season 2 years ago. And while the talent for Florida is still there, you have Felipe Franks, who, in my personal opinion, is still one of the better quarterbacks in college football. I think this year he really does take that next step. The thing that hurts Florida is losing guys like Jordan Scarlett, and I don't think they lost Jordan Scarlett, excuse me. But I will say that I think Florida will actually win the game. I don't see Miami being ready enough for that week 1 game to take it. And I think that while you can sit there and say that Miami, with all the talent that they have and the defense that they had that was top 5 last year, arguably the best defense in college football, doesn't lose many players. You lose Joe Jackson. You lose a couple pieces from your secondary. You replace them pretty easily. I don't see how they can get ready alongside that offense to the point where they can beat Florida week 1.
Good stuff from Kevin Fielder. You can join him and the rest of the staff there at State of the U. Of course, the leader is Cam Underwood from State of the U, who joins us just about each and every Wednesday night to talk Miami football. So we've got 123 on the line. I appreciate your support, all the wonderful comments in the live chat. It's our aim here to provide the best in discussion, debate, and analysis of college football, which we do each and every day. I'm in the middle of schedule rankings, position previews, and so much more than that. I will be shooting ACC top 5 quarterbacks and running backs later tonight. Those videos will be available in the next few days. And of course, we've got Ohio State football talk coming up here at 9 o'clock Eastern time. We've got Steve Hellwagon, Tony Gerdeman, and Kevin Noon standing by to talk Ohio State football. So join us right back here at that time. If somebody wants to call in, go right ahead. Call in. We've got 5 minutes or so. 860-325-3687. You've got about 20 seconds to call. Otherwise, I'm going to let Kevin go. We'll regroup and be back here at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So 10, 9, 8. So, oh man, Kevin, I almost made it out the door, but not quite. Let's see what we've got here. All right, it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark, it's George.
George, how are you?
I just wanted to call in and say hi.
Let me first warn Kevin that George is a Florida fan.
I could tell by his profile picture it wasn't that
Okay, okay. Kevin saw one of your 128 comments in the live chat. Okay. George, thanks for calling. It's been a while.
Thank you very much.
George.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just grinning from ear to ear. I can't wait. They have beat us like 8 out of 9 times. You know, finally, revenge.
Do you think this is going to be revenge for sure?
Only because of one or two things. Number one, Dan Mullen. Number two, Felipe Franks. Finally, we have leadership at the top. And Miami does too. But it's hard in your first year. I mean, if Miami could pull it off and beat us, more power to them. I'll take my hat off to them. But we're loaded. We're loaded. We're loaded.
I will give you a 60% chance of winning. 60.
We have the most senior team in the Southeastern Conference on offense.
Not necessarily the most talented.
For 4 years.
Okay, you've got a senior-laden team. I know that you have some questions along the offensive line, so you might have some issues blocking that Miami defensive front.
Mark, check this out. We had some guys injured and other people played. We have 77 games worth of returning starting hours in our offensive line. 77 games on the 5 guys that are going to start. They're not juniors. I mean, they're all juniors, and they've all played 77 games worth of football, starting or playing in real games. It's a lie what they're saying.
George, I'm surprised you're actually bringing me statistics and facts. That's not like
because
you.
I read an article by Will. Will is smart. That guy Will that Dave on Gator Breakdown.
Oh, they know what they're doing over there.
He breaks it down, man.
You know, we're tight with Dave. He does a great job at Gators Breakdown. Absolutely.
I love Miami and Florida State so much. You know, it's my job to mess with them. Everybody wants to joke around. We're all joking around, but I really hope they don't lose it to anybody but us. Like, go beat all those other teams, man. I hate it when they lose to Pittsburgh or whoever, Boston College. They're in the ACC. It's embarrassing.
George,
I'd rather lose to Vanderbilt or Missouri.
George, you're not going to like this, but we only have 5 likes, and we've got 123 watching right now. What's wrong with that?
You know, I blame that on Alphabet, the parent of Google. But I'm not going to talk about that no more. I'll probably get your channel shut down.
Yeah, please don't do that.
It's got to be rigged. It's got to be rigged. You know, everybody's hitting the like button. Man.
Okay.
Everybody loves you.
All right. George, I appreciate the call. It's been too long, and I know that I got to do more call-in shows. It's been a long time since I've done one, but we are in the process, right. George. Look at this. Before I let you go here, this is just one small addition that I've made this week. I don't want to tell you how much money I spent this week on new equipment, so we just have to get it set up so we look better here.
Good job, Mark. God bless you. Good job, man.
All right, George.
Now get that spinning Florida helmet up there like Dave has. I'm just messing with you, man. Talk to you later.
How's that, George?
Bye.
All right, we'll see you later, George. Take care.
Damn,
you should be happy.
You put the Gator helmet up there for the FSU helmet.
I had Florida State, Miami, and Ohio State up there because those are the 3 teams that we're talking tonight. Kevin, we appreciate you stopping by. I think we've done enough damage unless you have some parting shots for us.
I don't have many, but I will say I think week 0, I don't agree with the 60% in advantage to Florida. I think it's more like a 55 down to 52. I think while the Gators return a lot on offense, the question is how much they can take that next step, because is it going to be another Miami season where they make the Orange Bowl and then the next season they finish 7-5, or is it going to be a season where we finally see Florida back on top? Because it seems like it's been a few years. I hate to tell Florida fans this, but y'all haven't exactly been very relevant since the turn of the decade. So that's it for me. But
All right,
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much. So everyone, I'm going to scan the live chat. I'll respond to anything I see that stands out. Then we'll be right back here at 9 o'clock Eastern time talking Ohio State football. So please join us right here. So just keep it on my front page of my YouTube channel. You'll see the Ohio State live stream pop up. But before I do, I would like to catch anything that anyone has to say of note here on the live chat. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Anytime, Mark, anytime.
Hardwired to self-destruction. Good to see you. JD Carmona. JD, I don't believe I've ever seen your handle here at Mark Rogers TV, so you would not know that this is tradition. But JD Carmona. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I assume you're a Miami fan. If you're not, please let me know who you root for and how long you've been watching. All right, we got the Wholesome One. Thanks, Wholesome One. The Wholesome One, Dwayne Holloway, and I have released a number of position videos. More are coming. So please also check out his YouTube channel, The Wholesome One, HOLSUM, the number 1. West End, good to see you. Captain Trips, good to see you as well. Sean Taylor, repping the U. Hurricane Andrew as well. Thanks for joining. Brad Roy. Have I ever seen your handle before? Brad Roy. I don't believe so. Welcome to the voice of college football, Brad. We appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you found a home right here where we deliver the best in discussion, debate, and analysis each and every week. So please let me know who you root for. I believe it's Miami based on the comment and how long you've been watching, Brad. All right. We've got SEC Dog. Daniel's on the line. Will Sky. Keniac Chris. And, for anybody watching right now, I've got something to say about Uncle Lou because Keniac Chris mentioned Uncle Lou. So Uncle Lou's been on here twice, maybe 3 times. We've exchanged a number of comments, but basically he does his thing over there. I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. I think it's informative. When it's not informative, it's hilarious. It's either one. He does a little bit of both. I do my thing. We do it very differently in a lot of ways. And in some ways, it's not as different as you might think. But that being the case, I've had some issues here on YouTube recently. They have been curtailed for the time being. Nothing to do with YouTube or YouTube doing anything wrong or putting the hammer down on me. Nothing like that. More technical and operational issues that I didn't know were necessarily just a flaw in the system that they were going to correct or what the deal was. Uncle Lou reached out to me. He saw the video that I posted. He let me know, hey, and he took the time to really explain a lot of things that he's done to upgrade his show and his platform, and I appreciate it. Uncle Lou is a first-class act, and I would have said that and have stated that a number of times before this exchange. So I've been saying this for going back to the time that I saw him and thought he did a tremendous job and was hilarious on his channel. And certainly I just want to make this a shout out to Uncle Lou. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you've got a ton of things going on to really explain what you've done and how you've been able to upgrade your operation and give me some guidance there. So Uncle Lou, first class act all the way. And again, would love to have you back on the show at any time. Who else is on the line? Just a number of people, but I'm going to shut it down here because we're going to be back in just 5 minutes to talk Ohio State football. We got Steve Hellwagon on the line from Bucknuts, Tony Gerdeman from the Ozone, and Kevin Noon from Rivals. We'll be back in 5 minutes, everyone. Thanks for joining. If you made a comment, a question, a recommendation, a suggestion that I missed, please just send that same exact comment to any of the YouTube videos, and I will get to your comment as soon as possible. We'll see you in 5 talking Ohio State football.